Press conference momentarily with an opening statement from head coach Beth Cunningham, followed by questions for her student athletes that are joining today. Sophomore forward Lainie Douglas and junior guard Kaemyn Bekemeier. We'll get started in a few moments. Just a reminder, if you're joining us on Zoom, thank you. If you have a question, please use the raised hand function, and you'll be called upon during the press conference. Again, we'll start with an opening statement from Coach, and then questions for the student athletes. They'll be dismissed, and then you'll have time with Coach Cunningham. They're making their way into the press room now. Again, Coach. All right, we are now joined again by Missouri State contingent of head coach Beth Cunningham and her players, sophomore forward Lainie Douglas and junior guard Kaemyn Bekemeier. Coach, if you could just start our press conference with a statement, please.
Yeah, congratulations to Texas, to their team, and Coach Schaefer. They're obviously a #1 seed for a reason, and we certainly saw why. But they've had a tremendous year. Defense, rebounding wins championships. I think they'll have a heck of a shot to compete for a championship, and proud of the way that our kids competed. It took us a little longer than I would have liked to kind of settle in, but you have to give credit to Texas and just their physicality, their pressure, and just taking you out of what you're trying to do. But proud of our kids. It's been a great run here at the end, and thank you to the University of Texas. It's been a first-class experience for our kids.
Coach, thanks so much. We'll take questions for the student athletes, and we'll start in the front row, please. Just identify yourself and your affiliation.
Danielle Lerner, USA Today. Kaemyn, what were the main factors that contributed to you guys scoring just 12 points in the first half, and then in the third quarter, how did you turn that around to only be outscored by 1 point?
I think it was what Coach said, just settling in. The environment was amazing. We might have been a little intimidated at the beginning, but just settling in. I think we were getting good shots, just some things weren't falling. But yeah, at the end of the day, just settling in and kind of getting that confidence back to go into the second half.
Hi, Jay Plotkin for the Springfield News Leader. Kaemyn, can you talk a little bit more about that? It's when you're a shooter and you're used to having some space, but obviously you didn't get a lot of space today. When you do finally find yourself with some space, is it hard not to rush the shot?
It's the same game at the end of the day. They're great defenders. They're, like Coach said, they're a #1 seed for a reason. And also, like Coach said, they have a great shot to go win this thing and, if not, go really deep into the tournament. It's a new level of basketball. You're not going to get near as much room, but that's what you practice in the off season is not near as much room.
Back row, please. Next question.
Ryan Collingwood, Springfield Daily Citizen. Lainie, you played against some pretty big teams in your career. How tough was it against a front line that big? What was that like, kind of going against a group of that size?
Yeah, they were really physical, so I knew that going into here. Kind of worked on my jump shot before the game just to have it in the bag for this game. So they were super physical. I tried to just work around it, but just still a learning process, and I'm excited to keep learning.
We'll go in the back for our next question, please.
Thank you. Chris Ninehouse, KY3 out of Springfield. I know it's fresh, the loss, but do you have a sense of appreciation for the fact that you made it this far? You earned your right to play against a team that might win the national championship here and representing Springfield, the Ozarks, and can you just talk about, put into words, what it felt like to be on this stage, the biggest stage?
Yeah, it means a lot to us. I know our younger selves dreamed of being on this stage for sure. So to be able to be here and to be able to represent Missouri State and Springfield as a whole, I know means a lot to me, just being a hometown kid. But I know our team, we're really happy for each other. Being able to go into as a 6th seed and win our conference tournament was awesome, and I know we're going to be really excited to get together 20 years down the road and share a lot of memories from this season, because there's a whole lot of those behind the scenes, things that don't even happen on the court. So we'll be excited for that. But, just to be able to represent Springfield means a whole lot to us. Anything else, Dougie?
Anything to add?
She said it perfect.
I think she said it great. All right, next question then. For the players, we have a little bit of time left. If there are any other questions for our two, okay, here we go. We'll go back to Ryan in the corner.
Ryan Collingwood, Springfield Daily Citizen. Kaemyn, this is still a pretty young group. I think your youth was like pretty apparent this year, but you guys got better and better throughout the year. But how much would you like to kind of see this group come back? I mean, obviously, anything's possible with the portal and all that stuff. So just this group kind of proved that they were a pretty solid young group. So how much would it mean to you to see this group come back?
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to lose 5 people with just being seniors. But with being a young group and having all 4 of those freshmen step in key moments throughout the entire season and just be put in those big positions and in these big moments is just going to help them thrive as student athletes later down the road. So, I mean, there's a whole lot of growing that we can do, but there's a whole lot of growing that we did this season that'll definitely help us as a team next year.
Do we have any other questions for Lainie or Kaemyn? All right, seeing none, ladies, thank you so much for your time at this press conference. Best to you in the future, and congratulations on your impressive season this year. Thank you. All right, now we'll direct our next set of questions to Coach Cunningham. All right, right behind in the last row. Thank you.
Jay Plotkin again. Obviously not the start to the game that you wanted. You have to call timeout 3 minutes in. What did you see in the first 3 minutes, and what did you tell the team during that timeout to try and get them to regroup and maybe settle in?
What I saw is kind of exactly what I was worried about when I was hoping we didn't get off to that type of a start. But just knowing the defensive pressure, the physicality, I mean, they just make it hard to get the ball in bounds. And so, they obviously came out and got some baskets early, and then we were struggling just, being able to get down into our offense. So just trying to just talk them through settling in, but there's no substitute for the experience of getting out there and doing it. And you can't simulate a game like this, no matter how hard you try. It's just hard to simulate a game like this with their physicality, their athleticism, and it took us a little bit longer to kind of settle in than I would have liked. But really proud of how we came out of halftime. I thought we talked about some things at halftime, and I thought came in with much more composure and understanding of trying to do what we were trying to do, and then executing it a little bit more. But that's what you worry about going into a game like this, playing in this environment. And then just as talented of a team as they are, they just don't make anything easy for you. They're not going to allow you to settle in, and so that's credit to them.
Next question. All right, we'll go back to Ryan. Thank you.
Ryan Collingwood, Springfield Daily Citizen. Coach, kind of like what I asked Kaemyn, it's like, you guys were so young this year, and you have so many good pieces coming back for next year. You have an opportunity, if they can get them all to come back in this weird climate we're in. How important is it for you to kind of, maybe make sure all those young pieces are still back, next summer?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, last year's we have a completely new starting 5 heading into this year, and our turnover last year really was in large part due to graduation, and that's my hope this year, is that in large part our turnover would be due to graduation. Obviously, having 5 seniors, was really thrilled with our freshman class and how they impacted us. I mean, Lainie's still just a sophomore for us. Kaemyn, obviously, a junior, but I think then with the addition of a really good I think which will be another impactful freshman class coming in. It's too early to kind of think too far ahead now, but I'm excited about the group that we have assembled, and hopefully we can keep this group together, and it's a group that will continue to grow and build. But the way the landscape is, whether it's due to graduation or otherwise, you feel like a lot of times you're kind of reconstructing your team every season. But I think more my goal is that our reconstruction is from a graduation standpoint versus a portal standpoint. But that's hard to know exactly what that looks like.
Yes. So the front row here, and then we'll go back. We'll go to the back row for the next question.
Coach, Chip Brown with Horns247.com. When you look at Texas on film and what you saw in the SEC tournament, what stands out? What makes you think they have a chance to win it all?
I just think they have so many great pieces, and then just the style that they play, I mean, is going to give them a shot in every single game. The way that they defend, the way that they rebound, the way that they just sit down and guard and just make you uncomfortable and can take people out of being comfortable in what they want to run. And then, that's just one side of the floor, and it's relentless for 40 minutes. And then you look at their offensive weapons and their offensive pieces. I mean, it's hard to find anybody much better than a Maddie Booker. And then you look at Jordy Lee and how she complements them, and Roy Hart. I mean, you could go down the line. They just have so many great pieces and seem to play so well together. They're very unselfish. They understand their identity, and they play to their identity. And so regardless what happens on the offensive end of the floor, defensively and the way that they rebound and defend is going to give them a great shot every single night. There's no question about that.
Plotkin from the Springfield News Leader again. Can you talk about what the team accomplished this year? Obviously, today is probably a tough one to swallow, but like Kaemyn said, 20 years from now, they'll have a lot to talk about and remember. What are some of the things that you're going to remember about this team and what they were able to accomplish this year?
Yeah, I mean, I just told the team after the game, there's very few teams that really get to finish how they want to finish. I mean, that's the reality. You look at Division I, Division II, Division III, you have your national champions. But other than, winning a national championship, there's very few teams that get to finish it how you want. And so I think, obviously today stings, and we would have liked the outcome to be different, and you want another game on your schedule. But it certainly doesn't take away from what this team accomplished this year. And I think, as a coach, one of the things that you strive to do is accelerate the learning curve. Today's landscape, you're kind of reconstructing your team every year. And so you're trying to accelerate the learning curve as much as possible. And it's been a group that's been together, 7 new players, 7 returners, been together since June. And as a coaching staff, you're trying to find the best way possible to accelerate that, because it's not that you probably don't have the luxury of coaching kids 4 or 5 years anymore, as you did in previous times. So I think our growth was tremendous. I think individually our kids got better. I think collectively we got better. And as a coach, your goal is to be playing your best basketball of the season at the end of the year. And so I think for the way we continue to grow from some of the successes, we grew every time from some of the bumps in the road to then turn it into learning those tough lessons and to be playing our best basketball at the end of the season, not just the conference tournament, but prior to the conference tournament, no question, we're playing our best basketball. And that carried over into conference tournament and to then, the opportunity we had the other night against Stephen F. Austin. So I just think the growth, the development, I really appreciate the kids' approach and their mentality. A lot of times, I'm a little old school in like how you approach adversity, how you don't throw in the towel and fight through those things. So to see our kids just stay the course and learn from those experiences to be growth opportunities, I give a lot of credit to the kids and just their mental approach. And, in the course of a long season, to feel like the way we finished is they're going to remember that stuff for the rest of their life, and to have that opportunity to come here and win on a big stage in the NCAA tournament and then to come out with a conference championship. I told him 10, 20, 15, 20 years from now, they're not going to remember who scored the baskets, who rebounded, who played, but there's going to be a lot of journeys throughout the season that are going to be lifelong memories.
Danielle Lerner, USA Today. Are there certain characteristics that you think are kind of common denominators for national championship teams?
Well, I've been on one, so I mean, I can only speak from experience. Certainly, you have to have enough talent. I mean, there's no question about that. You have to have enough talent on your team to compete. To win a national championship, you have to have enough talent to compete. At that level. But then from there, you look at the elite teams across the country. They're all talented, but the same things that those coaches probably preach to an extent are the things that we preach. With our kids about winning a conference championship. It's, it's being tough and hard-nosed and selfless and fighting through adversity, handling success, handling failure. We preach being unselfish and playing for something bigger than yourselves. I mean, there's just so many intangibles and characteristics that never show up on a stat sheet. And those are things that I know have helped us be successful in our program. But at the same time, having won a national championship, that was things that separated, those teams as well. So there's no secret ingredient, but I know how important a lot of those intangible characteristics are. There's no question about that.
Do we have any other questions for Coach Cunningham? Seeing none, Coach, I just want to say thank you for your time this week. We enjoyed having your team here in Austin, and congratulations for your team's successes this season.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, that will conclude our first round post-game news conferences with both Texas and Missouri State. A recording of this press conference will be posted in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at www.ncaa.veritone.com. Press conference transcripts also will be provided in the Digital Media Hub by ASAP, and you can look for them there as well. Thanks, everyone, for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you back tomorrow and Sunday.